Hi everybody, this is Jess Graham and this is my presentation for AEP 855 Mod 7, the Human Resource Frame. To start off with, in regards to what the Human Resource Frame of Leadership is, it's viewing the organization, which in this case would be our schools, as a family that places importance on the skills, attitudes, teamwork, and communication of its members. And in this framework, the leader is not seen as this authoritarian dictator, but rather as a servant and a catalyst that works to meet the needs of other members of the group. And I found the fact that it's viewed as a family interesting because in my building we're getting ready to start something called School Families, where every adult, and that includes the teachers, the paras, the office staff, the janitors, the cooks, will be the head or the parent of a family, and we'll have about 8 kiddos from kinder through 5th grade in our family, and we'll talk about social emotional issues and bullying and character lessons and things like that. And the goal is just to give every kiddo an adult besides their teacher that they have a connection to and that they feel like they can go to with their concerns. And the kiddos will actually keep the same parent K5, assuming that person stays in the building, but so they'll have a connection that's more than just a year-to-year connection. Okay, for my hierarchical structure, I don't do the whole pyramid thing. It's just not the way I kind of envision it in my head. So I'm going to do more of a circular model. I'm going to start off with students in the center. I think that everything we do and everything that everyone in the school does revolves around the students. They're kind of our sun, the center of our universe. Everything we do is to try to do what's best for them. In my next layer, I put paras, teachers, and parents. Teachers and paras have the most direct contact with students throughout the day. And in some cases, I can think of paras that have more direct contact with certain students than I do throughout the day. And sometimes the contact they have with students goes more than just a school year too. I know I can think of some paras that have been with certain kiddos for multiple years and they get to know them really well. As far as parents, that was probably the group that I had the hardest time trying to decide where to place, and I ended up placing them here because they have such an impact on the way kids act in school and the things they know. They give them background knowledge. They show them how to act. I mean, sometimes I have kiddos that I'm like, I don't understand why you act the way you do. And then you meet the parents, and sometimes that's like, oh, okay, now I get it. We can work on it, but now I get why you might do some of the things you do. And not to say that parents only show kids bad things, because that doesn't happen that often, really, but they just have a huge impact on the way kiddos are. So that's why I decided to place them with teachers and paras. Yeah, they're not employees of the school, but I feel like they have so much direct contact that I had to keep them pretty close to the kiddos. In my next layer, I put maintenance personnel, custodians, office staff, and cooks. These groups don't traditionally have as much contact with the students, but I still think that they do offer positive interactions. Office staff, sometimes they're the first non-parental adult that kiddos see in the day, and some of our kids come from some kind of crummy situations, and just a smile from the office staff can sometimes make a turn in their day. Cooks, my building is 98% free and reduced lunch. And for some of our kiddos, the only time they eat is at school, so the cooks are really important to them because they're the ones that feed them. And sometimes cooks, even knowing something as simple as, oh, this is your favorite food, I'm going to give you a little extra, can be a big deal to kiddos. Custodians and maintenance personnel, yeah, their main goal is to keep the building safe and clean for our kiddos, but I think a lot of times they actually interact with kids in ways that we don't realize they do. They can be good role models for hard work and just working hard, having perseverance, having grit, things like that. Okay, in my last layer, I put the principal, the alumni, and the community. The principal I put on the outer layer because they do have to make decisions, and sometimes there's tough decisions that affect everyone else that's inside the inner layers of that. but I don't think they necessarily, sometimes they're viewed as the principal is the top of this pyramid and they're on their own. Well, I don't necessarily think it has to be that way. Our principal is really working to try to get the community involved in what we're doing in the schools, and not just in a monetary way, but what support can they give us by coming in and teaching our kids things that maybe we don't have the skill set to teach, or like having 4-H come in and having K-State Extension Office offer activities and things for the kiddos that we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. For our kiddos, we live in a town where there's a big beef processing plant, and a lot of our kids think that this is just the best they can do with their lives. And I think by bringing alumni in, they can offer some of our kiddos that think that this processing plant is kind of like a prison sentence for them, hope of the other things that they can do in the future. A lot of our kids don't have hope for the future, but alumni coming back and showing them, no, you don't have to, you're not stuck to this, you can do something else with your life, I think is an important step that a lot of our kiddos need to see, and need to see more often than some people realize. A little different way to organize my hierarchy, but this works better with the way that I kind of see things going. Thanks!